What's up, FA Nation? Welcome to another edition of FA Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jen Piacenti, and joined today by none other than the Adam Ronis. Adam, what's going on this Tuesday?
Just another busy day in the sports world. Got the NFL training camps, injury news filtering out. Baseball, we finally, it appears, are going to get every team in action today for the first time since, I don't know what, late July, as the Mets are back, a doubleheader. And very, very exciting basketball game tonight. I know you're not a huge basketball fan, but for any casual NBA followers, you're going to want to watch Game 5 tonight between the Clippers and Mavericks after Luka Doncic put on a tremendous show on Sunday night that everyone is hearing about. So a big Game 5 tonight in the NBA, 9 p.m. Eastern between the Mavericks and the Clippers. Really looking forward to that game.
Well, I may not be an NBA fan, but I am from Dallas, and I did grow up going to many Mavericks games. And this is before Mark Cuban owned them. This is like, not to date myself, but this is like Rolando Blackman days. So we were not good, but we went anyway. So I'm excited to see the Mavericks doing well, and that was pretty exciting the other night with Luka. And you can't get a better storyline than that. I mean, that Slam Diego. I mean, we've got all kinds of exciting stuff going on in sports, and I think we've all been waiting for this, and we're excited. And today we get Ronald Acuna back. So if you have Ronald Acuna, be sure you put him in your lineups. Other than that, not a lot going on with MLB. I'm glad to see that the Mets seem to take protocol very seriously. Got themselves back on the field tonight versus the Marlins. A few trade rumors. Looks like maybe Clevenger is being talked about going to the Yankees. Maybe T1 Walker. Any of those interest you at all?
I mean, Clevenger, obviously. I mean, I have him in labor and tout wars, and I've still been able to be near the top with him out. So I could definitely use him back. I mean, he's a guy that goes deep into games, 6-7 innings. He had a little bit of a control issue in a couple of his starts, but yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to see him go to the Yankees. As someone who doesn't like the Yankees for his fantasy value, that would obviously be great. There are plenty of teams in contention that could use him. Taijuan Walker worries me a little bit. I mean, I think Seattle would be smart to capitalize on this fast start, but I did notice his swing strike percentage is only 7.4%. So he's not getting a lot of swings and misses. It's obviously a good story. We know that he has a good arm and has showed potential in the past. And if you look at the surface numbers right now, they're good. A 1.07 whip before ERA in this environment's not bad. But he has been a little lucky with the batting average of balls of play, 225, and he has allowed some home runs. So if I was Seattle, I would definitely look to be cashing in on him now. He's coming off a really good start against the Dodgers where he allowed 3 runs in 7 innings, only 4 hits, and struck out 8. So for the most part, I mean, he's had some pretty good starts. He got bombed by Houston his first game of the year. But he went against Texas in Texas. Texas is not a good offense. The Angels, he had a shaky start against them, and we know they haven't been great lately. And he had a very impressive start against Oakland where he went 7 scoreless. So, yeah, plenty of teams can use him. But I think in fantasy, just be careful. And I think I did add him in a league, a 12-team league, but I have him on the bench for the week.
Some Mariners known to be people that like to make deals at the deadline or even before the deadline. They definitely like to move pieces. In fact, they already sent Daniel Vogelbach to Toronto. Not really sure why they need another Rowdy Tellez in Toronto. I would think they'd be looking for pitching. Rumor is they probably are, and they're looking at some Pittsburgh pitchers. But I digress. We're talking way too much about MLB. I want to go ahead and get over to NFL today. We're going to talk about a few headlines in the news from camp. And then we're going to jump into a draft I did last night with a bunch of FA Nation. I know you guys are out there watching. I'm definitely going to let Adam have plenty of time to rip apart our draft. I'm going to give him complete permission to say whatever he wants. I was in this draft. Howard Bender was in this draft. We'll go over those people. First, we're going to quickly hit some NFL headlines, though, that are pretty important. Number 1, the Brandon Ayuk injury. What is your concern level here, and does it raise any interest in Kendrick Bourne, Dante Pettis, or Trent Taylor for you?
Yeah, there has to be some concern. I think we're going to see a lot of injuries this year, unfortunately. We have in baseball, and we've heard some guys talk about it, just the way they had to ramp up so quickly. And I think with football, we don't know how some of these guys performed in the offseason. We're seeing a lot of soft tissue injuries and hamstrings. So I think we are going to see a lot of injuries, and it's going to make it wild in fantasy football. And we've already seen several guys having issues. And with Ayuk being a rookie, not being able to be out there with these valuable reps right now, I think it does hurt him a little bit. It's not like he was going early anyway. Even in recent drafts, I've seen him go 11th, 12th round. So at that point, I'm still willing to take a shot, but I don't know if any of the other guys move up. There's still guys that I'm going to take late. I took Trent Taylor, I think, in the Scott Fishbowl around 22. So, those guys I'll consider late. But I just don't think anyone is going to go into a position where they command a big percentage of the targets. It's still going to be a lot of George Kittle and the running backs. And I think all those other guys are kind of going to cancel each other out. I don't see any one of them getting huge volume. We'll see about Deebo Samuel. I know now they're saying he could be ready week 1. I don't buy it at all.
I don't either.
But I am more willing to take him in round 10 or 11. But I see some still going like round 8, round 9. Now, if you have unlimited IR spots and you have your starting lineup set, sure, then you could take a shot. I did that last year with AJ Green. That's the only league I drafted AJ Green because we had unlimited IR spots. It was round 9. I said, sure. And it didn't burn me. Still had a good team. So, yeah, once you get to like round 9 or 10, 11, if you have those unlimited IR spots and it does sound like Deebo might not miss much time, you could take them. But just keep in mind that this is a Jones fracture. And it's certainly possible we don't see him to week 5, 6. Maybe he's not 100% when he comes back either. That's the other risk. Sure, he might be out there week 1, but is he rushing it back? And then it could be worse. So I feel like there'll still be someone in a draft who takes him earlier than me.
Yeah, I'm with you about Deebo. I love him, but it's just a little risky. And there's a certain point where there's a value, but it's probably not before round 10. It's probably more like 12 or 13 for me. More news, Darrell Henderson injury, also a hamstring. Seems to be a lot of hamstring injuries going on this year. So that says to me the Rams backfield is probably going to belong to Cam Akers. Or do you think that Malcolm Brown is going to challenge here?
No, I think it's good. I thought it was going to be Cam Akers all along. I've been able to get him in a few leagues already. And I think it'll probably push him up the board now because there might have been people who were hesitant looking at it as a situation where there were several running backs. We heard the comment from Sean McVay, I don't know, was it a month, 2 months ago? Yeah, we have 4 running backs we like. Well, of course. Well, what is he going to say? He's not going to just hand the job to a rookie when they didn't really get to see him much. But I liked what I saw from Cam Akers out of Florida State. Ran behind a poor offensive line, broke a lot of tackles. So I think he's going to be the guy, and I'm interested to look at his ADP over the next week or so. I mean, I have a real draft coming up this weekend. I think he might move up a little bit. I think you might see a little bit more aggressiveness on Cam Akers, who I think has been, especially for the way I draft, round 5, round 6, and our super flex league that we did for the flex league. I was able to get him, around 7 or 8. Now, again, super flex league quarterbacks get pushed up, but I was happy to land him in that spot.
Yeah, and this is, guys, another reason why when you do your drafts, you really do want to do your drafts as close as you can to the first game. So you get as much information as possible. 2 days ago, you probably could have gotten Cam Akers pretty inexpensively. Now you're probably not going to. And same thing with Brandon Ayuk. Maybe he was more expensive. I don't think he changed probably a lot. But O.J. Howard is apparently excelling at camp. What do you think? Any interest in O.J. Howard? Are you tempted?
Maybe as a third tight end in leagues that are tight end premium, like the FFPC does a 1.5 per tight end, so maybe as the third tight end. But even as a backup in a regular, I don't see it. And I was on OJ Howard last year, and I was wrong. I was lucky that I only got him in one league out of the double digits that I did. It was the FSGA league where I took him around 5. Still able to win the league. Again, people fret over these mistakes they make early. You can overcome it. Don't let it bring you down. There's always someone you could find. And I had to play tight end rotation roulette on the waiver wire. And it's not fun in a 14-team league, but I was able to figure it out. But I love O.J. Howard's talent. It just didn't work out last year. Now you got Rob Gronkowski, who probably is not going to play a full complement of snaps. But I have to think when he's on the field, he's going to be there in red zone situations, critical situations. And Brady has that rapport with him. So still going to be a lot of Gronk and Braid, and then you got Evans and Godwin. I just don't see enough production, and so it's great, but O.J. Howard is talented, and I'm not surprised this is happening. I don't see it being relevant for fantasy in typical 12-team leagues.
Speaking of Mike Evans, he also tweeted last week that Tom Brady is one of the greatest, and he's helping to make him one of the greatest too. So does this give you any more excitement about Mike Evans, maybe Mike Evans over Chris Godwin, or you still keeping Mike Evans about the same place on your board?
Chris Godwin higher for me. I think Chris Godwin showed last year what he can do. Probably going to run more out of the slot. We'll see what they do when they run a lot of their 2 tight end sets, but I think he's going to be the guy for Brady. I know Brady still has the arm strength and can go downfield, but that's where Evans makes most of his production is on shots down the field. So I just think that Godwin's the better receiver. I really haven't been interested in Evans. Part of it is he goes in a range where there's so many good receivers, and we know the depth that there is in the middle round, so it doesn't make sense to really take one early unless it's clearly the best player on the board. And I just don't see this Tampa Bay offense putting up the numbers they did last year. You know, Winston was playing from behind consistently because he put them in holes from all the interceptions and turnovers he had. I think the Bucs defense has improved, so I just don't see everyone in this offense living up to their ADP.
All right, one last piece of news. So Connor Hughes of The Athletic reports that Frank Gore is the most exciting running back at camp, and I don't think it's really close either. So is this an indictment on Le'Veon Bell or reason to get excited about Frank Gore, or see none of the above?
You never get excited about Frank Gore. I mean, he's amazing for what he's done at his age to still be playing, but I don't care where he finished at running back. Just look at what he gives you on a week-to-week basis. So I don't want him. I don't even care if it's around 18, 19. I don't want him. I'd rather take someone younger that has a chance to maybe win a job, because even if Frank Gore somehow is the main back, it's not a good enough offense, and he doesn't have the talent level and skills that he had when he was younger. So I don't know if it's an indictment on Le'Veon Bell. I haven't really been interested in Bell. I know he goes in the 4th round, but it's just, someone was kind of not arguing with me, but I guess countering, like, hey, why don't they like Le'Veon Bell? He gets a lot of volume. I'm like, he got a lot of volume last year. How did that work out? Like, volume is great. We want that in fantasy football, but I don't want crap volume. And last year, Le'Veon Bell was crap volume, and a lot of it was the offensive line. But it seems like they still have a shaky offensive line. So I have not taken Le'Veon Bell in one draft yet.
I haven't either. All right, speaking of drafts, let's move along to this 14-team, 1-point PPR, 1 quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex league that we did last night with a lot of the family. So we're talking PD Stitz, we're talking both the Mikes, we're talking Kangas Man, Cheyenne Bailey, Erica, Hope, Steve, Jeremy. I'm sorry if I'm blanking on names right now. Scott. Such an awesome group, so much fun. And Howard and I both played along while we were doing radio hits at the same time. So we're going to blame that on any huge mistakes that Adam finds that we made. We're definitely going to blame that we were multitasking. But Adam, so take a look at the board. Give me some of your initial observations. Again, 14-team league. So as you said earlier, a little bit deeper than probably a standard 12-team league.
Yeah, 14 picks in the first round, 14 running backs. That immediately, 13 running backs. Someone took Thomas at 5. Yeah, I mean, just the premium put on running backs this year is absolutely insane. And we know that some of them are going to bust. So, Chris Carson, early 2nd round. I mean, that's early. James Conner, early 2nd round. So people really went out of their way to get running backs. I mean, Le'Veon Bell in the 2nd round. I mean, I want to vomit at some of these.
Okay, so don't hold anything back. When you look here, is there any team that kind of stands out to you as one of the stronger teams?
Let's see. Like some of the early picks, the start for Baker, not too bad. Mixon, Gordon, Cooper, Chark, Swift. Oh, but then they took AJ Green. Forget that. I don't know. No one really stands out here. I kind of like, I was going to say the Jacobs, Adams team, Brown. But then they went Gurley, who I don't like. And then a tight end and a quarterback in the first 6 rounds. That usually doesn't work out well. I would not advise that. I mean, most people that do that, they don't like the way their team comes out. The Barkley team, not too bad. Barkley, Godwin, Galladay, Ingram. I don't love Ingram, but look where he went. 4th round, and even if it's only half a season, maybe he wears down. Maybe J.K. Dobbins is too good. Woods, Lindsey, Stafford. But yeah, there are some picks in there I don't like. You know what? No one. See, this team I kind of like to start, but again, a tight end and a quarterback in the first 4 rounds is really difficult to have a balanced team. So Zeke, Kelsey, Beckham, I like that. Then Lamar Jackson in round 4, and I know it's round 4, and I know it's late at 412, and you probably felt I can't pass on them. Like Lockett, Crowder, Preston Williams, Madison. I mean, pretty good. But I got to see how that. I mean, you really need Lamar Jackson to hit again. Again, I just don't really like taking a quarterback and a tight end in the first 6 rounds, and this team did it in 4. But kind of like some of the picks that followed up. But I got to say, there's no real team that stands out. I mean, Derrick Henry starts not bad. Henry, Julio, Juju, Andrews. I don't like Singletary. White's fine. Why take Allen and Breeze 2 rounds later? I don't understand that. In a 14-team league like that, and I've been on that for a while. That doesn't make sense. That's like a wasted pick. And you need every pick here in a 14-team league. So it feels like kind of everyone did something that I don't like. Let's see. The Eckler-Carson team's not bad. Even though I don't love Eckler there, Carson is definitely early. But Eckler-Carson, I like Metcalf, Akers. See, this team would have been so much better if they went with Eckler, Tyreek Hill, and I know you don't know what's going to be there as far as running back, so you're pushing them up. But Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Metcalf, Akers, Parker, Marvin Jones, Wentz, I would have loved that. But I do like, Metcalf, Parker, Marvin Jones for a 14-team league. Got Wentz, DeAndre Washington. But again, you get Wentz, and 3 rounds later, you take Daniel Jones. Why?
So, I will say what happened in this league is I was going about it. I took Dak quite earlier than I usually take a quarterback in round 5. But then I wasn't going to take another quarterback. And as I got later into round 14, I realized there were almost no quarterbacks left. And everyone had already taken 2 quarterbacks. And it was a 14-team league, which was really leaving almost nothing for me to even stream in my 1 week. So I went ahead and grabbed one there, which I don't normally like to do. And the best person available at that point was Teddy Bridgewater. I think maybe Gardner Minshew was okay. So I'm okay with that.
Well, Minshew went, I'm assuming. Did he or no?
No, he ended up not going, so it turns out maybe I didn't need to do it.
Yeah, you probably didn't need to do it. And again, Dak Prescott's bye week was week 10. Right. And I think, people do this. They kind of see, this position is flying off the board. Just remember, there's always going to be quarterbacks available off the waiver wire. Last year, it was Ryan Tannehill. And especially this year where I feel, and again, it's a guess, and we've seen it in baseball a little bit more not a little bit in basketball. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be the possibility of guys sitting out because of COVID-19. So I just feel like the waiver wire is going to be really plentiful this year. I know last year it wasn't, especially for the running back position, but maybe I'm less cautious than other people. Like people just feel like it's safety. I have to have a second quarterback. I think in your spot, you didn't need it because you're going to play Dak every week. You don't really care about the matchup. Dak has shown it, and his bye's not till week 10. So you got plenty of time to figure out. Now, if you want to argue on the other side, well, what if he gets hurt week 1? Now I got no one. I get it, but I kind of don't play that way. And was this a 16 or 18 round draft?
Yeah. This is a 16-round draft, and it was definitely not me worried about him being injured. I wasn't planning on taking a quarterback at all, as I said, but when we were getting down there, I suddenly I was just looking at all the positions, and I saw basically this Teddy Bridgewater and Gardner Minshew, and that was it, that I would even be willing to roster for a week. And so I got panicked, and I thought, wait a second, you guys didn't leave any quarterbacks out there for me to stream later? And I went ahead and got Teddy Bridgewater at that point. But now looking back on it, this is a hindsight's 2020. Nobody took another quarterback, so it totally was a wasted pick in the end.
And a lot of these second quarterbacks are going to be dropped. Trust me, when bye weeks come and injuries. And do you have IR spots? I'm assuming you do, right?
And that's a good question. I'm assuming we do too, but I have to say I was very naughty and I didn't go into the super deep details of this league.
Yeah, man, I've always said know the league rules. So I think a lot of teams, leagues will this year. I know the one that you joined with us in the GST, we're not, only because we have 9 bench spots. It's 20 rounds.
That's fine.
So we kind of discussed it with Chris McCarroll, and he's like, yeah, let's make it at least a little challenging. And we do have 9 spots, but if you have 16 rounds, you probably should have some IR spots because the benches obviously are smaller. But yeah, I see some people took a second quarterback way too early, in my opinion, especially when you take one of the top ones that you're going to play every week. So, but yeah, running backs were definitely pushed up, and they have been in every draft. But I mean, this is crazy. I mean, we basically had 15 of the first 16 picks, 17 picks were running backs. Wow. I mean, Julio Jones going at 2.7. Godwin at 2.13. You almost got him. He one pick away from you.
That was Yeah, and then when I got there, obviously my second and third picks are essentially the same. They're round 2 and 3. I could have taken Adam Thielen there and then taken Jonathan Taylor in the third to put him in the third round, so it didn't look like this. But I reached a little for Jonathan Taylor because it's a 14-team league, and there was no way he was getting back to me. It was my first share I've had, and I just wanted to have Jonathan Taylor. So I went ahead and did that there. And again, seeing how all the running backs were flying off the board, there was no way it was going to happen. So I went ahead and took Jonathan Taylor there and followed up with Adam Thielen. And I took Marquise Brown way before the system told me I should. And I got chastised for that in my draft review, that I took Marquise Brown way too early in the fourth.
The draft review according to who?
According to ESPN.
Oh, don't worry about that. Yeah, I mean, there were some receivers that I would have taken over him, but I do like him a lot. And I've been pretty aggressive on him and have him in several leagues, and wrote an article on him a couple months ago about how he played hurt last year. He put on some weight. They asked Lamar Jackson a couple years ago, like, who do you want, Marquise Brown or Jerry Jeudy? And he said Marquise Brown. And Brown was still getting past defenders last year when he wasn't even 100%. I mean, we saw a glimpse of what he could do early in the season, week 1 against the Dolphins, had that big game, then had like an ankle injury. He was coming off the Lisfranc injury. So, I mean, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I think he could explode this year. So,
me too.
I had, there were a few receivers that went after him that had him ranked higher, but I don't worry about that because Marquise Brown's not coming back. If you really want him, you kind of have to take him there. So
again, that was the case because Tyler Lockett is ranked higher. Usually Robert Woods is ranked higher. Even Tyler Boyd is ranked higher, but I just really wanted Marquise Brown. And in a 14-team league, when you're at that first spot, you have to wait so long. I mean, it's great that you can start with Christian McCaffrey, but you have to wait so long in between your picks. It's super risky if there's a guy you want. You end up reaching a little bit. And that's what's actually tricky about having the 1.01 pick. It's not my favorite pick, I have to say. Who doesn't want to start with Christian McCaffrey? But I feel like you're less creative with your lineup. You kind of get jammed into positions that you feel like you have to, which is also why I prefer auctions. But when you're looking at this board, can you pick out some really great late round values that people got?
Yeah. Brashard Perriman. What round is this? It's hard. 9. Yeah, I like Perryman in round 9 for a 14-team league. I wrote an article about him too. I feel like I'm higher on him than a lot of people. I'm kind of buying what he's done. He was a first-round pick with the Ravens, had injuries. And the last 2 years, not only if you look at his efficiency numbers, they've been really good. And he got an opportunity with Tampa Bay and was going up against the top corners with Evans and Godwin out and performed. So I know the Jets' offense is not ideal, but I like what he brings for this year, especially where you can get him. I like Chris Herndon in round 11. I'm not a Jets fan. I know I brought up 2 Jets. But Herndon was a guy that people liked, last year, and he obviously had the suspension and the injury. So I love getting him, preferably as my second tight end. But if you're going to wait this long in a 14-team league and get him as your one, I'm sure, and I'll let you speak on this. Like, how I understand Tyler Higbee has problems, but 11-1 to you probably didn't even want a tight end, and you were probably like, he's still
I didn't.
Okay, sign me up.
That's exactly what happened.
I was like,
I don't understand why he's here, and so if I don't take him, I'm the biggest dummy on the face of the planet. So
I wouldn't say that, but there comes a point where it's
11th round.
And I feel like Higbee is one of the more polarizing players in fantasy, where some people are like, well, he never did anything before last year he had that stretch and Gerald Everett's back and they're going to run 2 tight end sets. But at the same time, I mean, he looked really good. Like, how did the Rams just completely go away from that? So I understand the hesitation and why some people want to pass on him, but like, you're going to take Austin Hooper over him? I mean, I can't do that.
I can't. And then to your point, I took Brandon Ayuk in round 12, and I think that's a little later than he had been going because of the injury news. And I thought, hey, I'm willing to take the shot at round 12. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, when you look what's on the board, although I might have gone Steven Sims over him, that was a good pick. Round 13, pick 4, very good pick. I mean, I
didn't think you had to go Steven Sims in round 12, though.
I was 13.4. That's the thing. And, you know, this is where, and I've done this too. When you get to a certain point, especially 11, 12, don't worry, well, he goes in round 14. Because we're getting closer to the season. Buzz is starting to build. Just, if you like that player, don't say, oh, and especially you picking one, like you said, don't be like, oh, I can wait another round. Just take them if you like them like that. Because I think that's what happens to a lot of people, especially on the software that they're drafting on too, because it absolutely influences people. I've seen it. I've drafted in so many different softwares. And I remember for baseball, like RT Sports, Ramon Laureano was like 9th, 10th round pick. I was taking him in like 6th round in an NFBC. So I had to adjust and be like, all right, is there someone in the room who thinks like me and is going to push him up, or do I just go according to ADP? So that can really get you in a bad spot because you wind up missing a player you like. So I think in that spot, once you get to like 12, you like the player, who cares if his ADP is 14 or 15?
Yes, but to be clear, I like Brandon Ayuk more than Steven Sims.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. I mean, the health.
But I would have taken Steven Sims in that very next pick, who I had my name on, and I thought I could get them both, to be honest. I ended up going Benny Snell. But
McKinnon in round 13 is not bad. I mean, we've been hearing positive things about him. So that's a good pick. Trying to see where else here. Giovanni Bernard around 14. I like him. I don't know why he goes so late. I know it's not to the Mixon owner, but we've seen Giovanni Bernard step in. And Mixon had a little bit of an issue. I think it was a minor injury where he missed some practice. But I like that. And I like Miles Boykin around 15. I know that there's probably not enough targets to go around, but that's a guy that I would take a shot on late for sure. Deshaun Jackson around 16. Wow. I'm not like a huge fan, but that guy can have some big weeks, man. I know he's better served for best ball, but like week 1, I think he could play Deshaun Jackson. He's healthy, and we saw what he did last year. So
in week 1.
Yeah, that's kind of a late pick there. So Deshaun Jackson around 16 is pretty interesting.
Yeah, lots of good picks here. So, all right, just one last thing because we have to do it. You have to look at Howard Bender's team and give us your assessment. He is Mama Bird.
Yeah, I like the start of Chubb, Hill, Montgomery. Montgomery.
Yeah,
he went Montgomery. He likes Cam Akers, I thought. He went Montgomery over Akers. I don't know. Like, I haven't taken David Montgomery yet. I know there's been some good reports and he's lost some weight, but the offensive line's still an issue.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, I can't take him at 311. I would have either, if I was intent on going running back there, I would have went Akers, or I would have went with the receiver. So I know Mahomes. Is Mahomes a he took Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. He didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. I might even have Mahomes ranked 1, I think. Not that I don't draft the guys early. But I understand there comes a point, round 4, 14-team league, taking the quarterback. I don't know if I would do it. I tend to wait. But it's hard to criticize someone for taking Mahomes at 4-4. And at 12, I can't believe Lamar Jackson made it to 4-12. That's kind of surprising.
I was going to take him if he was still there at my pick when I saw Lamar Jackson fall that far.
Yeah, there comes a certain point.
I haven't taken Mahomes or Jackson anywhere yet. But if it was going to get there, I was going to say that's your sign. Take him. But he did not.
Yeah. Then he took – I don't love Diggs. I mean, it is 5'11". Could be one. Dobbins,
but I like Dobbins.
I do too. It might take some time for him, but he should get carries in that offense. I like Lamb, Rager, Jonnu. Lazard, Cobb late. So it's okay. I mean, again, he took a lot of players I liked. I don't know. The Montgomery pick in round 3 kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I'm not a big David Montgomery fan. I know a lot of people are, but I feel like they're doing it based on the idea that they have to have that running back, like you said, and it causes them to sometimes take him earlier than he should be. And that offense in Chicago runs through Allen Robinson, plain and simple. And it just, we can't trust Nagy. And actually, David Montgomery's just not that good. If you look at his underlying stats, he's just actually not that good. He needs to get better. So, I mean, Matt Breida is a much more efficient running back, and I would rather just wait and take Matt Breida in the 6th round. You know, for me, that's me.
The issue with Breida is he is changing systems. I mean, San Francisco is one of the best for running backs. The Dolphins really isn't. I think what the hope with Breida is you're hoping Miami is not good. They're playing from behind. If they are, he should be on the field more than Jordan Howard, who's not going to be used in passing situations as much. But it pretty much seems like a lot of teams took 2 running backs with their first 3 picks, and people are just so scared of losing out on running backs. And I just feel unless you're in a spot where you like both running backs, don't push it. You can figure out a way. And I think people are making the mistakes of just drafting running backs way too early because they're scared that they're going to miss out. And I think there are going to be opportunities to pluck guys late. And you know, I was going to say a guy like Chase Edmonds, but he went 7.5 here. And I don't know if that was because of the Kenyon Drake.
I like Chase Edmonds.
Oh, I do too. Now I'm pissed because he's moving up the board. I mean, I took him. I did a draft recently where I got Drake in the 2nd round, like middle of the 2nd. And I didn't really take Edmonds to handcuff him. I've been taking Edmonds round 10, 11 in almost every draft I've done. I took him in the FSGA. I didn't have Drake because we saw last year he had one game where he was the starter and he went off. And I know it was the Giants, and we heard Kingsbury already say Edmonds is a starting running back in this league. And Drake, I do like Drake. He looked good last year, but he has never shown that he can hold up for a full season in the NFL. And we've seen 2 head coaches now be reluctant to give him big workload. So I do like him, but like with almost every running back, we can find flaws.
Chase Edmonds was my pick for best handcuff in our fantasy alarm bold prediction. So I do believe in Chase Edmonds.
7.5. Woo! Damn. Yeah. I would have thought he would have went later than that, even in the 14-team league. But that we might look back and go, that was a great pick.
We might. And that's what this is all about, guys. We're just talking about how you drafted. It has nothing to do with how this finishes. Your draft grades, what it looks like today. Your team shouldn't probably look anything like this at the end of the season. You probably should have made some moves, made some trades, and made your team better. We won't know how to make the team better until you're in season. And that's when it's important to follow all the news, to pay attention, to tune into Fantasy Alarm, listen to what we're telling you, and make the smart decisions. But so far, some exciting stuff going on here in a 14-team league, and there's so many more drafts to come. You guys remember, do your draft as close as possible to the first day of the season so that you have as much news as possible. And we've gone a little long. Sorry, Adam, but appreciate your feedback. And what are you doing the rest of the day?
I got to write my MLB Best Bet article. Got the Alarm After Hour show tonight, 1 a.m. Eastern, SiriusXM Fantasy. And I'll be recording the Ante Up podcast with Howard Bender as well.
You guys tune into that new Ante Up podcast. It's really fun. It's a new podcast with just Howard Bender and Adam Ronis, and listening to them talk and give recommendations for good bets and things like that is a lot of fun. So be sure you find that on iTunes, subscribe, and review it there. And that's it. I'm your host, Jen Piacenti, and we will catch you next time.